we now don't integrate game providers anymore. They integrate us because we want to be sure that all the supply chain from the game provider to us, to the operator or the PAM and then the operator is secured by us, and that we control all that chain.
Today, I am really excited to be speaking with Alex Tomek, founder of games aggregation platform Alea, a great partner of Pragmatic Solutions, a great partner of our customers, and a very colorful character in the industry. Alex, welcome to Connected. Good to have you here.
Thank you, Ashley, for having me. Hi, everyone. Very happy.
You guys have had such success with your model, and your model is not new. You're not the only ones doing games aggregation, but you do it differently and you do it very well. And we found it's a very well-received partnership when we propose Alea to our clients of the platform, and it solves a lot of problems for them. So tell me, Alex, how do you, strategically this must have been intentional, how have you differentiated Alea's offering from what other aggregators do, and what solutions do you create for operators?
It's been a journey of discovery. We started as a B2C operation. It was called Slots Million back in time, and we created our own internal aggregator. We had also our own payment platform, the PAM. We had everything, and at some point we figured out that it was more convenient for us to be on the B2B side than on the B2C side, just because facing directly players and regulators was an uncomfortable position, especially we had a UKGC and an SGA license. I've been through many audits, and at some point I thought, okay, you know what, I prefer being a B2B and a specific type of B2B. I don't want to have access to player data. I don't want to deal with player data, and basically what I want to do is deal with games. So, or I build a game studio, or guess what? We have an internal aggregator. We had already that aggregator back in time. Why not resell that aggregator with the hundreds of software providers we had integrated with very good contracts to our competitors or other platforms, and also make sure that we're not going to develop a platform. That was the second part. We didn't want to develop a PAM. We didn't want to develop a PAM for two reasons. One is not have access to player data, and second, we didn't want to become competitors with companies that were going to become our partners, because at the beginning we start selling to operators, but quickly we start selling to PAM like yours, and we didn't want to get into competition with our partners. So it's a statement we did from the beginning. I mean, at the board level, we're not going to develop a PAM. If one day we develop a PAM, it will be just for our own operations, which, to be honest, I don't see it coming now. So we focus on aggregation also. This focus on aggregation gives us an edge. All the resources in the company, all the brain juice, all the brain power is focused on one thing, is aggregation. And aggregation is an intangible product. You don't really see a front end. You don't see, we do have a back end, of course, but the heart of the aggregation business is the APIs. All these APIs, our API, and the way we were integrating game providers' API, and now the way we are delivering our API to them, because we changed the model a couple of years ago. We now don't integrate game providers anymore. They integrate us because we want to be sure that all the supply chain from the game provider to us, to the operator or the PAM and then the operator is secured by us, and that we control all that chain.
I don't think everybody appreciates, if they've not dealt with Alea previously, how technically savvy your team is. I mean, we know that from our interactions with the team at Alea. They're very smart technically, And you take that very seriously. I think that's a key element of your decision there to publish an API that vendors integrate to, upstream vendors integrate to you, because you have more control over providing the security around that connection point to your platform, and in turn, the security over the game's provision to the operator.
Totally, and it's interesting because we started this business a little bit in an opportunistic fashion. We had an internal aggregator, and we thought, okay, we're just going to resell our contracts. So we were basically a reseller. We buy and sell games. Then we became a game specialist because we had access, and we have access to a lot of data. That's a very interesting part of our business, is that we know which games are working for which type of players in which country. It's fascinating to see all the data that we have. I'm sure you have the same kind of data, and you have full floor also. We don't have full floor, but we have a lot of customers because we are an aggregator. And then we became an API specialist, and that's the last piece that happened, is when we saw, especially when we were integrating all the new software providers, that they didn't really understand what an API is. They were focusing on building great games and didn't think about the fact that we are the only industry with the banking industry where there's money in and money out. And at the moment there's money in and money out. If you hack the game API, you hack the wallet, you hack the bank account. You have direct access to the bank account of the casino. You can withdraw money. You don't need to hack the banking API, which is literally unhackable because of PCI compliance, 3D secure. It's very difficult today to hack a banking API. So a game API is very easy to hack, and basically a printing money machine, you know?
Well, not if it's secured through Alea's APIs. I mean, I suppose that's been your point being that's the center of focus. It's something I've heard you talk a lot about in the industry, and your own keynotes is about the focus that your team has had around securing that and ensuring the operator's connectivity is not exposed to any vulnerabilities. What kind of impact does Alea have on an operator's business? I mean, you work with many operators across the industry. What do they come to you for, and how do you deliver that benefit to them?
So apart from the security aspect that we've discussed, it's time to market. You want to go on a market, you need to have a couple of providers. You can sign directly with the big ones. Pragmatic, for example, being one of them, can easily represent 30 to 40% of your business. You can sign that directly. Okay, you don't need to go through Alea. That type of provider, like the big ones, you're going to sign them directly. You can go through us too. We may sometimes have interesting prices there or interesting way to deliver it. The most important thing is that instead of doing, let's say, 50 or 100 QIB with the game suppliers, 50 or 100 integrations, you're gonna do one. But that's the tip of the iceberg. What companies struggle to see is that you need to maintain this 50 or 100 integrations, and that's where the hard work is. You want to have the free spins or the last tournaments or the last bonus engine that they have. You will need to update this integration. Do that one time per provider per year, and you have a tremendous amount of work to do. If you integrate Alea, you just do it once. We basically update 1 to 2 times per year, and you will have all the updates of all our portfolio done through that one only update. So that's I think is a very important point, because depending on the integration, you will have a very different product for the same game provider. You will have access to all the bonusing tools that they have, all the promotion tools that they have, or you'll have access to nothing. And we know today remember back in time Starburst. Why Starburst was the best performing game from NetEd? Because they launched the free spins on Starburst. Not because Starburst was such an amazing game, just because of the free spins.
You're focusing on the technical aspects of it, which are perfectly valid, but there's also another side. There's the commercial, the administrative side of it. It's a burden on a business to manage and maintain commercial negotiations with hundreds of games content suppliers or dozens of games content suppliers. And you consolidate that with one agreement with the operator, and you have commercial agreements upstream with the game vendors. So that also provides a sort of operational efficiency to the operator in terms of speed to market.
Yeah, completely. I mean, imagine your compliance team, your partnership team, account management having to deal with all the commercials. Sometimes you have setup fees, you have minimum fees. It's impossible. I remember when I was an operator, we could start with it was 2012 when we started, we could start with 2 or 3 software providers, back in time being NetEnse, Vetsoft, a couple of more, and that would be fine. Today, especially if you're going to have several geos, and the world of iGaming is opening today. Look at LATAM, look at Africa. You need at least 50 game provider. The window of time you need to negotiate all these contracts, sign them, do the KYB, the due diligence. It's going to take you years. It's just impossible.
And I guess it also serves an optimization for the game vendor as well. You give them distribution with a single relationship with you as a platform, provides them distribution, which allows them to focus on making great games instead of integrations individually to each operator.
Yeah, completely. I mean, we have that a lot lately, is that game vendors are becoming our resellers. They have their customers, they have their leads, and they send them to us. Also because an operator is not going to integrate a new game provider, not being sure that this game provider is going to be successful if they have, let's say, less than 10 games. Also.
Of course, yeah.
But on the other side, they want to try it. Because something happens. You don't want to miss the next Hacksaw or No Limit City. You don't know if they're going to be the next Hacksaw or No Limit City, or if they're just going to be a flop. Okay. The problem that happens, and I've seen that in Brazil with PGSoft when they boomed. Good luck to do the integration with PGSoft when they even now when they started being successful in Brazil. They just don't have the bandwidth to put you in your roadmap. So, or you take the game at the beginning, or you will miss out 1 or 2 years of profit on that game. So yeah, completely. We see more and more game providers coming to us because we are a distribution network at the end of the day. They just have to go to the software provider and say, okay, now we are a part of Alias portfolio. You don't even need to do the integration because you're already integrated. You just need to sign an addendum with them, and that's it.
Alex, I know you well enough through the time that we've interacted together to know that your business wins market share on its own strengths, but and it is a competitive market. There are many aggregators out there. So I'm not asking you this question because I feel that you need someone to point out the deficiencies of any other supplier in this sector, but there must be some things that you've done intentionally to differentiate Alia's offering from those of others that provide games aggregation. What would you highlight?
Yeah, we get back to security. It was not done on purpose. We developed our own API, reverse integration API to game providers. So the operator will integrate our API, okay, but we will integrate all the APIs of all the game providers. At some point, just because we thought it was going to be easier for us and quicker, we develop our own API, and we said to the new software providers, okay, you want to be integrated to do Alea, we're not going to do the job, we're not going to do the integration, you're going to do the integration of our API. And we found out already before that, we started having clues that they didn't really know how a gaming API should work. Okay, they didn't. You remember back in time, we had in one call the bet and the win, and then we separated them, and we had bet in one call, win another call, retry, rollbacks, reconciliation, and that was done basically because if you put the bet and the win in the same call, the operator can refuse that round ID. So we have one round ID with the bet and the win. And why would the operator refuse the round ID? Because he could see the win. So if I have a big win, I can refuse the bet. So now, bet and win are separated. You cannot do that anymore. If you accept the bet, you don't know the win, you accept the win. Okay? But it leads to much more complex type of integrations. Okay? So when we started to reverse integration, we noticed how difficult it was for new software providers, game providers, to understand these logics of retry, of rollback, of reconciliation, and for some of them even authentication. They wouldn't have an authentication system. So basically anyone could log into their endpoints and generate wins without having put a bet. So our specificity is for the past 2 years, we didn't do one integration of a new software provider. They integrated us, and we did more than 50. I think we do something like maybe more than that. We do 2 per month. So
again, it comes down to that technical proficiency. I think that is something that your team is always talking about, and I think as you talk about it, you realize that maybe it's not something that close to the average operator to be considering, and they're not necessarily in the details of the API calls, but when you highlight the vulnerabilities that can exist if it's not done properly, it is evidence of the core focus of Alea on the technical strength there.
Sorry, I just want to emphasize a little bit more on that.
Sure.
Maybe I'm a little bit more maniac, but because it's not a well-known fact in this industry, but it is very important. Whether you go through a technological partner like Alea, whether you have your own integration team. So first of all, you should have your own integration team, which means that you should not rely on your backend developer to do integration. You should have a knowledge of integration within an integration team that only do integration, not rookies, like really specialized people. They should develop an API and they should give it to the software provider. That is so important, because otherwise you have built all this system, which is your palm, which is your little fortress, which is protected, which is secure. And by integrating just one little game, and you think, oh, but this game is just 1% of my GGR. It's not about the exposure of the game. The hackers know the game. They're going to find it on another website, and then they're going to find out your website, then they're going to exploit it. You can lose millions. And you can find out after having lost millions, or you can also never find out. It can be a silent bleeding. If you're a big operation that's doing a couple of hundred of millions of GGR per month, if they take 1 million per week, that's what we've seen on some operation during 1.5 years. 1 million per week during 1.5 years. Your team can pass through it and never see it. So it is very important to control the integration process and have your own API, or work with a technological partner like us, where the API is not coming from the software provider, but it's coming from people that know what they're doing.
Yeah, well, you and I have that sort of value priority in common. It's the resiliency and the strength, security strength of platform technology is something we both have talked about, and we both apply to our approach to our independent businesses. And one thing, it's a good segue, perhaps, we talked about highlighting a success story of Alea's product offering to customers, and I think we agreed that our relationship together is one success story worth highlighting. From my side, from Pragmatic Solutions, Alea helps us answer to many onboarding customers with us that are looking to quickly get a depth of content and get a back catalog of content, sort of the smaller game studios, a rapid integration and a rapid contractual relationship with those smaller game providers. Increasingly, we're seeing even what you would call, tier one game providers be preferred to be taken through Alea because of your buying power or your distribution that you represent to those game vendors. Meaning that commercial gap is not as big as it used to be. In some cases, it's very competitive what you offer in terms of pricing. So my story about the success would be, us as a platform, we find you guys to be a very capable and helpful partner to the operators that we have and the operators we onboard. You have anything to add to that?
I want to have a little tear.
We can hug it out later.
Thank you for saying that. Really, but yeah, when I've read the question about a success story that I would like to share, Pragmatic Solution was the one I had in mind, and I hope that this feeling was mutual. So thank you for saying what you just said.
Okay, good stuff. And let's look ahead. So it's not a static product that you offer. The industry moves very quickly. Nobody has a crystal ball to necessarily be able to predict what happens in 12 months' time in terms of who's going to be the next most important games content provider or what's going to be the next type of engagement feature. But you must have an exciting roadmap that you've already planned. What does the future hold for Alea?
Apart from the technical stuff, technical aspect, maybe I'm not going to talk about that more. But
you're passionate about the technology. I think that's exactly how you should be in your line of business. So
yeah, we're developing more tools. I mean, we already have a very interesting feature. We have released a new backends. You can upload thumbnails through API. You can download them. We have testing tools. I mean, there's a lot of things we're doing. In terms of business, we're looking a lot at sweepstakes and social. We've been in New York for the Next.io event that happened, I think, last week, if I remember well. We were the head sponsor of the Sweepstakes Social Casino. It's a huge market, and I'm not talking only about US. I'm talking about many other countries. I see Australia as a very, very interesting market. There are many markets in Europe also that are interesting. To say it quickly, every market where basically you don't have free games that are forbidden, you can do sweepstake or social, and you can get a legal opinion for a sweepstake casino, and if it's too complicated, you can get a legal opinion for a social casino and add sweepstake on top of it as a promotion tool. And basically that could open you any market. Not UK, obviously, because free games are not allowed there, but Australia for sure. We're looking into France, not there yet, but there's a law coming this spring. We're looking in markets like Brazil. A lot of South Latin American market are also on the list. We're looking a lot into sweepstake, and we consider today, from the numbers we are and the numbers we are from the competition, that we are the leading social sweepstake casino aggregator.
Oh, it's interesting. That'll be interesting for many operators that are looking at the new horizons offered by different commercial models in this sector.
No license, Ashley. You don't need a license. You just need a legal opinion, and you have access to payment methods. We, as real money gaming operations, we don't have access to.
In every one of these scenarios, it's all about the people you're dealing with and building trust relationships, strong relationships with your customers. Yeah. How do you approach that?
With time. I've been in this industry for 20 years now, and I remember saying myself, sometimes you want a quick win, and I always thought, don't do that. Don't do that. It needs years to build a reputation, and you can fuck it up in a couple of seconds. You're here for the long run. You're not here to build a company and do a quick 4-year sales. We want to be here in 10 years. We are here to build long-lasting relationships. So as we're not here for the quick win, and as we know we're still going to be here, hopefully, in 10 years, and we've been in this industry for 20 years, that's how you build relationship. Having a long-term vision and knowing that the people you are dealing with today, you are making business here today, you're going to make business with them in 5 or 10 years. So you must have a partnership that is working for both parties, because otherwise you're going to make quick bucks during 12 months, and at some point the partner in front of you is going to wake up and say, wait, what are you doing? I see you have your hands in my pockets and you're making money out of me and I'm not. So time. You see everything.
You've highlighted many things technically and sort of operationally that Alea does well, but I think your ability to forge strong relationships with your partners and that long-term view, that long-term commitment that you make is, I think, a critical part of the success that we've had with Alea, and a relationship we're certainly keen to continue to have and expand. Alex, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to talk with you, and I hope that for those of you watching, this has been an informative way to learn more about Alea. Alea is already connected to the Pragmatic Solutions PAM platform. As Alex has said, you're also connected to many other platforms for distribution across the industry. Alex, thank you so much. Great speaking with you.
Ashley, I thank you. I could be more grateful to have the opportunity.
Our pleasure.
You and all these kind things you've said about the company, and even myself, and thank you for that. And
okay.
The feeling is mutual. Okay.
Yes, it's a good partnership we have. And for those of you watching, tune into Connected to learn more about integrated partners to Pragmatic Solutions. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.